Shots from Scarlet Moon Creations, and here we are at the beginning of the Litha Witchathon, um, and the beginning of my vlogging my experience. This is always fun. I would like to do more vlogs, but yeah, I think I would need better equipment and also better internet. Because I actually go to the library to upload my videos for this channel. Um, and that's a large reason why I don't post more videos. So anyway, it is day one, a little bit after 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, and I'm actually starting Witchathon on time. Not in the middle, well, I am in the middle of reading other books, but I'm not like physically or emotionally invested in continuing those right now. So, um, random extra news you don't need to know, but I started The Final Empire Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson yesterday around midnight. I've been trying to read that book for a while and just hadn't gotten around to it. And yesterday I finished 2 other books, and I was like, what am I going to read? I can't start my Witchathon reads yet. And I have this book that I actually own. Unlike everything else, or not everything else, but all of my TBR for Witchathon, for the most part, is library books. So, yeah, I don't know what that was about, but I made it through all of part one, which is up to 168, and I enjoyed it. So, yeah, nothing to do with Witchathon, except I'm thinking about substituting it in or adding it in. If I can finish these other books, which are all relatively short and I'm very excited to read, um, one of which is a reread, I am I might slip that in here at the end. I'm gonna wait until the end because, Anyway, so trying to decide what book um I wanted to read first is what delayed me, which didn't have me starting at midnight. I am still up because my whole sleeping schedule is off. Earlier this week I had an incident, and it's not a huge deal. It's not even really a bad thing, but it gave me nightmares and kept me up most of Tuesday night, I think it was. So anyway, yeah. And I work from home, so it's not a huge deal to not have a completely nighttime sleeping schedule. But anyway, 3 minutes of not necessary talk. I saw that Rhiannon decided to go with their longest read to start. Rhiannon is the host of Witchathon, as always, and they're awesome. So I decided that's what I'm going to do. And I looked at my books, and the longest read is Shield of Winter, if that would show properly, by Nalini Singh. And this is a book that is fulfilling the prompt to read a book with lots of trees. And what I did was kind of sneak a peek online at the first chapter. And sorry guys, my arm is hurting, so I gotta switch again. And the headquarters that they start out in is in the forest, and I think they go back and forth. So I wanted to do this because I didn't really... So I just realized that with the new tripod I have, I can just connect this to here and you'd get the same view and my arms wouldn't be tiring out. What I was saying was, this book, Shield of Winter, is the first thing I'm going to read. I had taken a sneak peek on the author's website. It's by Nalini Singh, and the first chapter definitely takes place in a facility in the middle of the woods. And the woods, the forest, is a setting that often pops up, or not pops up. It's a setting that has been a main one often throughout the series, though by this point, it's not the main setting. It's one of kind of like three. So what I we're on day two of Witchathon, the Litha Witchathon, and I wanted to give an update. I wanted to give one during the day, but this morning I was busy editing and uploading a video that should have been edited on Thursday and uploaded on Friday, and then spent the rest of the day with my mom and aunt doing some Father's Day shopping. I was planning on filming a bit of that, but I left my phone in the car, and yeah. So anyway, first I want to talk about my plans for this vlog, what I hope to include. So one, tomorrow's Father's Day, and so you'll get a little snippet of that. Honestly, the plan is mostly to cook dad some meals and to watch movies. We are not caught up on the Marvel movies. Just life has gotten in the way. I think the last thing we watched was that Black Panther, and we saw that late. So we haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, we haven't seen Captain Marvel, and we haven't seen Avengers Endgame. Um, so we will watch at least one of those tomorrow. Hopefully all three, but we'll see if we can make it through. No spring chickens in this house. So, or at least I should say, I don't know if my attention span can hold out that long. I know my mom's can't, but she's not a fan really like the rest of us are. So anyway, I also like the pool beach thing prompt. I forget what number prompt that is actually. No, I don't have my bullet journals right next to me, so I don't even know. But with whichever number prompt that is, I hope to do that. I love the water. In their TBR video for the Litha Witchathon, Rhiannon mentioned how it can be a general body of water. So if I don't make it to the pool or the beach, and my goal is to attempt to do that to attempt the pool on Monday, because I think that will be the day when there will be the least people trying to go and get in. But yeah, if I don't get the pool or the beach, I will try. I will go try to find a lake that I haven't been to. Last resort is the Bronx River, which I see all the time. But I'm trying to not only make this vlog interesting, but also kind of make this it part of my summer solstice celebration, like I do honestly with every Witchathon vlog. And I would like to visit a body of water that I have not been to in a while, or that I have not been to at all, or at least a location along that body of water I've not been to at all. So there's also like the Hudson River, and I don't know what's happening outside, guys. Just know it's Saturday night in the hood, so if you can hear that, that's normal. Anyway, next, I don't know if I'll get any altar decorating, but I will try. I got it in last time and I was so happy. But I don't even really have a plan of what I want on my altar, so I guess I had to start thinking about that. And oh yeah, Monday's full moon, so you might see some meditation writing, and if I remember to attempt to rig up my tablet to record me while I go live on Instagram reading the meditation, you might see a snippet of that as well. So yeah, that's I think all I was really thinking about including. If I come up with anything else, I'll let you know. That's in addition to the reading. So I am up to currently page 321 of Shield of Winter. And before I go into like the details so much, I didn't like how I explained this book. It was kind of really off the cuff, and it is book 14 of the series, and I have not read it's been several years since, I think 2 years since I read book 13. So while I remember the overarching storyline and like whose book, which characters were the focus in 13, and I didn't remember the details enough of the world to like properly explain it. So that's why I edited that out. If my first day or first night vlog seemed choppy at the end there, I just cut that out because I just started rambling. So this is a book 14 in the Changeling series by Nalini Singh. It's paranormal romance. I'm sure about that now. And the Changeling series is a world that focuses on the future. This is the futuristic, but it's not like too far in the future. It's like the 2070s, 2080s. I think this particular book said it's taking place in 2081. So 50 years from now, roughly 50, 60 years from now. And there are 3 races in the world: human beings, changelings, and the Psy. So human beings, just to get that out of the way, are like you and me. We're regular people, nothing too extra special. Changelings are what, I guess, I can't even be mad because that's Wonderful song choice. Um, Changelings are what, if you've read paranormal books before, are usually called like were animals. They have two sides to them, the human side and the animal side, and they can change form back and forth, pretty much from birth. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be wrong because I didn't like double check on that. But anyway, so they usually are considered to be emotional, and for those not connected to the packs, they are also deemed to be wild and even over emotional, crazy, even possessive, whatever negative adjective you want to throw in there, go ahead. But they usually form packs and clans, which are smaller groups of people. They tend not to live in cities, though some do. For example, the biggest group of wares in New York City in the side Changeling world are hawks. So that's pretty cool. We got hawks here. Hawks are native. So just wolves and leopards are the main groups that are focused on in this series because of just the love connections that have happen to be with those two groups that live in the Sierra Nevada area of the United States. For those of you who have no clue, that's a mountain range that runs through California and a little bit of Nevada, and it includes the redwood forest. So like the biggest trees in the world are in the Sierra Nevada in the northern section. But so yeah, random geography lesson there. And yeah, so there are strong emotional ties, and strong physically. They, like I said, can change into their animal forms, so they get the teeth, the claws. Honestly, I'm not too sure about non-predator changelings. I don't remember any off the top of my head. Bears, falcons, there are water types as well. So, yeah. But then there are the Psi, the third race, and they are very cerebral. Their powers are all mental. So we have empaths, which are up until a few books before this, actually up until the first book, but officially this book here is where their designation is starting to be officially recognized. But empath, telekinetics, teleporters, foreseers, just any kind of like mental ability you can think of, that's the size area. And unfortunately, because they're so powerful mentally, they had a higher than average out population of psychopaths and sociopaths, and insanity was just at a higher rate in their race than the others. So what 100 years ago the side decided to do was the silence protocol. Silence was basically no emotions. And the first like page really of the story here really gives it a good explanation. The silence protocol has been the defining aspect of the Psi race for over 100 years. Conditioned not to feel emotion from childhood, they are known for their icy practicality and acute mental abilities, and adhering to strict codes of behavior. It is all they know and all they've been since the inception of the protocol. The ... until now. So the Psi have been using torture, mental and physical torture on themselves, on their children, on each other for over 100 years to train the members of their race not to use emotions. And that would be a little bit difficult for empaths, right? So at first they were killing them off, and then they found out that doesn't work out so well, so they put them into basically lifelong comas. Anyone who is seen to be breaking silence are put into reconditioning, which is torture all over again, and if they can't be fixed, they're killed, and that is what it is. There are various levels for their powers, yada yada yada. The only other thing is that the Psi are all connected in a thing called the Psi net. It provides biofeedback, and that's how they are able to live. They need that connection. It's like the internet, if you think about it. As an example, and the internet is talked about like a web, the World Wide Web, for a reason, and that should give you a good mental picture of what the SciNet is. But now there's problems with silence and the SciNet, and things have been happening over the course of time, and the races have been intermingling over the course of this series with good and bad results. Some by force, some by accident, and just things have been changing. And yeah, the last thing I'll mention are arrows. Arrows are like the enforcers of the side. They're assassins. They are spies. And Vasic, the main guy here, is an arrow. He has been an arrow since he was 4 years old, when his dad was like, boop, there you go, into arrow training. And arrow training is an even worse form of silence than it is for the average Psi child. Training to become silent, because they don't come out that way. It's not natural even for them to not have emotions. So, I've been enjoying this so far. I like that we're getting to find out what's the latest with Krychek and Sahara, which were the couple focused on the last book. Krychek is the most powerful Psi on the planet currently, and therefore leading the Psi. He's been doing a lot of things over the course of the series, and it was great to finally read his book. And I like that he's not super different, just enough, and he's not, following everything Sahara says. She's just because she's his mate or whatever. And Vasic is not too different, honestly, from the other side, other than his ability. He is like a true teleporter. He is the strongest in the world. He can teleport anywhere in the blink of an eye and be back in that same time period. And he doesn't really need too much beforehand information before getting to where he needs to go. His love interest here is Ivy Jane, and she has been an empath for her entire life and did not know it. But what I'm finding the most interesting is, I like the romance, otherwise I'm going to pick this up, but I'm more interested in what's going on in the world. Silence, this is spoiler alert, it's book 14, but so silence is broken now. Silence is no longer but a thing, but it was just done. Like at the end of the last book, that was like the big deal. And now we're seeing the fallout, and the Psy race is trying to figure out what to do, as are changelings and humans, because everybody's living in this world together. Like, the changelings to a small extent, because they kind of stay in their clans and packs, but they are a little bit off on their own, depending on what type of animal they are. Uh, but they still connect with the rest of the population for whatever reasons. The sides of people, they live in the regular world too, like human beings. So what's happening to them is affecting everyone else. And at various socioeconomic levels around the world. So all of these people are different races, ages, genders, all of that stuff, which I like. But that is a theme throughout Nalini Singh's books, by the way. We could do with some more sexual diversity, I think. And maybe, yeah, and more gender diversity, but otherwise, nationality and race and economic status is pretty diverse throughout both her series. So I just wanted to share one cute moment between two arrows. So Vasek, like I said, is an arrow. He has a friend. Silence, getting rid of emotions, meant things like no friend connections, no family connections, really. These are people who literally don't even have sex. They have made it a science, you know, like we have today, but made it an everyday occurrence for if people want to have children, because they do want to expand their race and keep it going. They form a contract, and they get together for the terms of the contract. In the egg, I mean, the sperm fertilizes the egg in a test tube, or however that works in science form. And while the child is either given to birth naturally or unnaturally, I don't know. But it's all very clinical. There's no attachments. The children are trained very early not to be attached to their parents. Um, and like there are familial lines, but it's more like, oh, I want my descendants to pass on my assets, kind of thing. There's no love, really, because no emotions are allowed, and it's literally conditioned out of you over the course of your life, and you're reconditioned anytime it seems like you might be having emotions. So Thasic is, having emotions now, really, the strongest he's ever had. And it's awkward. It should be awkward, but he's talking to his friend Judd, who used to be an arrow, who has already gone through this process. He had emotions before because he had his siblings' children, his niece and nephew, that he needed to take care of, and that he didn't want them to grow up like regular Psy. So, and then he married a changeling, and that changed. So I just find it amusing, like they're having this whole conversation because they're both telekinetics, and Vasek is like feeling, sexual feelings for the first time, and every time he starts making out with Ivy Jane, he teleports them to some random ass place, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So he's talking to Judd, who's the only other teleporter that he knows who has been through this experience. And it's all very clinical discussion, except for one like little giggly moment from Judd, and I found that amusing. But the touching thing is, like, towards the end of the discussion, Vasek is like, I want this for the others. So like the arrows are even more silent than the average Psy person, and like they are cut off from all family and from each other, because on top of being Psy, they're also, you know, like the Secret Service assassins, black ops, you know, so they have to kill at a moment's notice over and over and over again. They have to torture and all of this stuff. And so like they have no lives other than this. And he realizing, you know, that he can get pleasure from touch. He wants this for his fellow Arrow members, and Judd is just like, I never thought we would make it to this point, and I'm glad you have, and we'll get the others there too. And I was just like, oh, oh, that's so sweet. These grown ass men, like, we want our brethren, our brothers, to feel good things too, because the training is they're trained to associate emotion and touch with pain. So it's negative reinforcement, and they're learning that there's positive reinforcement. So yeah, I'm gonna end there. I'm about 100 pages left of this. I want to finish this tonight. I was hoping I would finish it earlier and I could start the next book already. Because tomorrow I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get in, really. But yeah, I'm gonna end this now because it's already 24 minutes. Okay? And I'll see you guys the next time. Bye.